I'm Jacob Courtwright, and this is The Locker Room. On today's episode of The Locker Room, we head into the heart of City Hall, into courtroom number 23, and we try and find out who is the all-time GOAT. Is it Michael Jordan? Is it LeBron James? Who will be found guilty of this title? Let's go to the courtroom and find out. Let's all go to court. Boom, boom, let's go make some laws now. Yeah, some laws. Ladies and gentlemen, for all you Ted fans out there, that is from Ted 2. One of my all-time favorite movie scenes, and that was actually a shout-out to one of my favorite memories with my sister and her husband. It's that one scene from Ted. So, now that the fun's out of the way, now that I'm done being a nerd, let's dive right in to the court case of Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. First up on the stand, Michael Jordan, present your evidence as the all-time GOAT. Real quick, I just want to let you know kind of what we're doing. Today we are going to be presenting the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James argument as a court case. Jordan will have his testimony. LeBron will have his testimony. We will have witnesses in between, from Paul Whestphal and Levi Bowman to Jarrett Toll, Dylan Musgrave, and several other people who have written on to the podcast. And we're going to kind of go back and forth and lay factual evidence down as to the all-time GOAT conversation, but we're going to do it in a courtroom setting, just so it's a little bit more fun on my end and a little bit more creative. And we're going to bring hard facts. There's going to be several opinions on the show, but at the end of the day, I want to know on paper who the all-time GOAT is, and at the very end of the show, I will give you my opinion, my hard facts on who I think the all-time GOAT is and why. So let's go ahead and get into Michael Jordan's side of the story. For the Michael Jordan supporters out there, I really hope you listen to the Last Dance podcast. If not, pause this. Go to episode 4 of The Locker Room, the Last Dance special. That is where I give you a lot of my opinions and a lot of my facts on Michael Jordan. His is going to be a little bit quicker summary because we took such a long episode last week to dive into Michael Jordan. We're going to dive more into LeBron James and give you more factual basis on him, and then we're going to do a side-by-side comparison and rundown from there. But what do we know about Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan is a 6-time NBA champion, 6-time Finals MVP, 5 times regular season MVP, a 10-time scoring champ, and a Defensive Player of the Year in 87 and 88. We also know that Michael Jordan has the greatest story that sports can offer. Has a three-peat, goes into retirement because of his father's death, plays baseball, is not too bad at it, but comes out of retirement from baseball and wins another three-peat. Michael Jordan has the greatest story that's out there when it comes to sports. Some other accolades that Michael Jordan also accomplished: he's a 14-time NBA All-Star, 3-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 2-time NBA Slam Dunk Contest champion, also a runner-up in that category. He's a 3-time steal leader in the NBA, 2-time minute leader in the NBA, 11-time All-NBA selection first team. He won Rookie of the Year, NBA All-Rookie Team first team. Jordan's got a resume. Absolutely no doubt in my mind, Michael Jordan is a GOAT in the National Basketball League. Fact, Michael Jordan has an illustrious career. Michael Jordan has tons of accolades. There's so many more that I can read there. A lot of them are magazine awards or, ESPY awards, things of that nature. Michael Jordan is incredible. But also a fact, Michael Jordan had the greatest coach in NBA history in Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan was led by probably one of the greatest run organizations at that time in NBA history. For everybody hating on Jerry Krause, Krause did put together some of the most elite teams in NBA history. A 72-win team, 2 three-peat teams. Jerry Krause is definitely not on the nice list for Santa, and a lot of people do not like Jerry Krause. I was not a huge fan, especially after the documentary, but the Bulls organization was run incredibly. They went out and got Scottie Pippen for a steal in the NBA draft. They went out and got Tony Kukoc, who was a vital part in their second repeat. They went out and got Dennis Rodman from the Bad Boy Pistons. It's an incredible run organization led by the greatest coach in NBA history. Also fact, Michael Jordan played with the greatest number 2 player in the history of the NBA, the greatest Robin to anyone's Batman in Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was there for every single one of Jordan's championships. Scottie Pippen played a vital role in winning those championships. So fact, Michael Jordan has played with the Hall of Famer his entire career. Now, we're not going to dive too heavily into who all was on Michael Jordan's teams and who all was on LeBron teams until towards the end, but Michael Jordan has played with Hall of Famers his entire career. The organization was the most well-run organization at that time, and perhaps they were up until a few years ago when the Warriors broke it, known as the greatest team ever assembled with a 72-win team. They also have the greatest coach in NBA history. That's all well and great. Michael Jordan's story drives him a lot further, in my opinion, than maybe numbers do, because it is one of the most incredible sports stories to ever be written. But also fact, you cannot leave out Michael Jordan at the Wizards. Michael Jordan at the Wizards was 37-45. That's not a winning season. They missed the playoffs 2 straight years. And Michael Jordan was also one of the very first people to initiate the stacking of teams that everybody hates on LeBron for. Jordan went out and got Jerry Stackhouse, Larry Hughes, Byron Russell, and Charles Oakley in his second year to try and win a championship with the Washington Wizards. So for everybody hating on LeBron going to Miami, Jordan was doing this well before LeBron. He was the one that made that happen. Now, because Jordan wasn't successful in winning in his last 2 years in Washington, you also can't ignore the fact that he still did average 20 points a game, 6 assists, 3.4 rebounds, so he still wasn't complete garbage, as a lot of people like to say and a lot of LeBron fans like to say. Jordan at the Wizards was the worst thing that was ever seen. He was battling a ton of injuries. His last year he played, he averaged 20 points a game, but he was also attempting almost triple the amount of field goals that he did in his normal career, as we should say. In the beginning of his career, when he was younger, when he was winning his championships, he was attempting a whole lot more field goal attempts in Washington than he was ever doing with the Bulls. So you can't leave that out, because in my opinion, a GOAT's legacy starts from the beginning of the legacy to the end of the legacy. Always go out on top. Conor McGregor wins 2 straight belts, goes and fights Floyd Mayweather, loses to Floyd Mayweather, don't come back to UFC. Now, he did just have an incredible win over Cowboy Cerrone, but at the end of the day, he came back and got destroyed by Khabib, and I think that tarnishes McGregor's legacy a little bit. Jordan should have called it quits after winning that second three-peat for good this time and not try and come back, because I do think that hurts. Now, Michael Jordan, fact, is the greatest scorer of the basketball that we have ever seen in the NBA. Now, I'm not saying that that might last, because you do have some people like James Harden and Kevin Durant and people of that nature that are still young, still in their primes, that are scoring in unbelievable ways. The game's become a lot easier to score in because the three-point line is so important in today's game. It was important back in Jordan's day, but not as important as it is today. Steph Curry really made the three-point line a must in the NBA, where it was more of a luxury back in the 80s. But even with the addition of the three-point line, Michael Jordan still might be the greatest scorer that we have ever seen in the history of the NBA. Michael Jordan back in his time was an anomaly, not only because of his size, but because of his athleticism. Michael Jordan was the first of his kind, a breed of athleticism, power, and strength and finesse that nobody had ever seen before. Fact, Michael Jordan is the greatest competitor the world has ever known when it comes to sports. Fact, Michael Jordan is the most competitive person that the world has ever seen in sports. Fact, Michael Jordan is the most driven, I should say self-driven athlete that the world has ever seen. Fact, Michael Jordan made NBA global. So to sum up Michael Jordan real quick, and towards the end when we bring up LeBron and then we do the comparisons, you're going to see, we're going to dive into a lot more details, but you're going to see, stripped down at the base of it, what did Michael Jordan have to work with? What did LeBron James have to work with? What has each player produced, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs? And where do they stand today? So there you have it. Michael Jordan first up. Now let's go ahead and move on to LeBron. All right, LeBron James. He is a 3-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP, 4-time regular season MVP. He is a 16-time NBA All-Star, 3-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 16-time All-NBA selection, 12 times first team, 2 times second team, 1 time third team in 2019 when he was hurt, 6-time NBA All-Defensive selection, 5 times a first team, 1 times a second team. He's an NBA Rookie of the Year, NBA All-Rookie First Team. He is an NBA scoring champ in 2008, 3-time NBA minutes leader, and the J. Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome LeBron James. No, I'm just joking. It would be cool, though. But I do want to point out real quick, LeBron James is a 3-time Olympic medalist. Michael Jordan is a 2-time Olympic medalist. He is also one, as the NBA players weren't allowed to be in the Olympics until later in Jordan's career. He did win several different tournaments and different championships in that as well, so I did want to point that out just real quick. There's a ton of accolades, of course, across the basketball world between both of these men. Facts that we know about LeBron James. LeBron James is 3 for 9 in NBA championships. That's the big fact you need to know. Also fact, LeBron James has never played with a consistent Hall of Famer in his entire career. The few times LeBron James has played with Hall of Famers, Dwayne Wade in Miami and Chris Bosh in Miami, they won 2 championships. In Cleveland, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Kyrie Irving will probably go into the Hall of Fame. I do not know that Kevin Love will. If he would have stayed at Minnesota and averaged the numbers that he was averaging, he very well might. Kyrie Irving, if he can stay healthy, he'll definitely end up in the Hall of Fame. Also, LeBron James has played for some of the worst coaches in NBA history. His best coach was Tyronn Lue. Eric Spoelstra was a game manager. That team was really driven by Pat Riley up top, though. That was probably the best run organization that LeBron has ever been a part of. LeBron has not had a consistent number 2 in his entire career. From the beginning of his career, he had to go Michael and Kobe-esque and be the all-time leading scorer, rebounder, everything for their team every single year, every single game. When he got to Miami, he was able to lift that burden. We did see him falter against the Dallas Mavericks. Was probably his worst performance. That is one of the biggest knocks on LeBron James, that Dallas Mavericks series. He came back up to Cleveland. He won one for the city of Cleveland. Down 3-1, beat statistically the greatest team in NBA history, 73-win Warriors. But let's dive into it. Fact, LeBron James has not had a consistent coach or a Hall of Fame coach. Eric Spoelstra might become a Hall of Fame coach strictly because of Miami just being decent and because Pat Riley's the brains behind that organization. But other than that, LeBron James has not had a top 5 coach in the NBA. Fact, LeBron James has not had a consistent number 2 his entire career. When he has proven that he can win. And for the record, no NBA superstar, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, no one can do it alone. I saw an interesting article that said, if Ray Allen saved LeBron James, then Paxson saved Jordan, and Ron Artest saved Kobe Bryant. No player can do it alone. Everybody needs help. That's not how the NBA is built. The NBA is built on 2 superstars, not 1. But fact, LeBron James is 3-9 in NBA Finals. Also fact, LeBron James is not that great of a free throw shooter. Right now he's 73.5% for his entire career. Jordan was 83.5%. So LeBron definitely has a weakness in free throw shooting. He has faltered when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks series in the NBA Finals. And he's also 3 of 9 in the NBA Finals. Now, later on in the show, we'll get to maybe why some of those were. But what does this prove? This just proves that both players have an incredible amount of accolades. Both players have done things that nobody else in the world has ever done in the sport of basketball. Both players have had faults. Both players have fallen short. And I want everybody to know that this is coming from a place of honesty on both sides. It proves that Jordan wasn't perfect. You have to look at everybody's full career. Now, of course, LeBron's career is still going on. But you have to look at Jordan's career from the beginning to the very end when he was done with the Washington Wizards. And you have to